Good morning on day 3 of my little Ohio weekend road trip. So I spent the night in Cincinnati, it's that way, and I'm heading north now to a town just east of Columbus, Ohio, called Newark, and that's where I'm going to see the Hopewell Mounds. It's a UNESCO site, and I believe it's not just one site, I believe it's multiple sites, which is part of the network of mounds that was built up in Newark. And then these mounds were built all over Ohio. The most famous of which is probably the Serpent Mound. It's a mound that looks like a snake. To find out a little bit more information and where I found the information about these or how I discovered them, check out Milo Miniteman's YouTube channel where he talks about sacred geometry and the Hopewell Mounds. It's super fascinating, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it today. All right, so here it is. I made it. This is the Octagon Earthworks. These were earthworks built by the Hopewell Culture between 1600 to 2000 years ago. And it doesn't look like much, but this ridge right here behind me is part of the Great Circle earthwork. A giant, massive circle that they would do. Well, they really don't know exactly what they did in there, and they don't think it was like one culture. They think it might have been a place where a variety of different peoples would come together. Probably had like a religious overtone to it, but they really don't know. They built this almost perfect circle here, as well as what's called the Octagon earthworks. They could have had more advanced surveying equipment, maybe similar to what the Romans were using at the time. We'll never know. That's just a guess on my part, by the way. It's actually so big, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to cover it really well, but I look forward to seeing it. Now, behind me here, and here is the entrance to the Great Circle, or yeah, one of the Great Circles. There's 2 of them in the region here, and they're kind of both connected, like in this massive ceremonial zone. It was a massive region with earthworks that were kind of connected, spread out over a vast area. So it's freaking impressive that they could, plan on that scale, and the amount of labor and care that was taken to make sure that this is right. It's pretty incredible. It starts here. It goes all the way around back there. All the way back beyond those trees. And it ends right here. Now, one interesting thing is, I think this building was part of it. This whole thing was part of a golf club. Which was a blessing and a curse. They've kind of put golf holes all over here, and if you're familiar with a golf course, they've got sand traps, and it's very manicured, and they kind of ruined some of it maybe, which would have been the curse. But the blessing would have been that it preserved it. They kind of used the mounds and the hills as part of the geography of the golf course. So behind me there, where this trail goes, there's a hill here, and there's a hill over there where these people are standing. Where is it? Right over here where these people are standing. So between there where that trail goes, that goes into the circle. And then this one here behind me starts the octagon. And a straight shot from that circle to this hill, I believe straight that way, is one of the points of this lunar calendar that they have. And this thing is massive. You can't really even, it's hard to see the scope of this or what even the layout is from standing here. Over here, there's another little hill. I don't know if you can see a little rise right there at the base of those trees. So you can see it kind of comes in down here. Down there, it kind of cuts down. And then that starts the next one down there. And I think I can see another one all the way down there beyond the big trees. And then I know there's one down that way, and I can't make out the next one until you get through these 2 big trees here. There's another one. But this is massive. And the cool thing is, like I said, each one of these cuts, it represents the rising and setting of the moon on one of its extremes. So again, that's really cool. I mean, there was planning here. They really thought this out, and they didn't just build these things just haphazardly. And it took a lot of people to do this, an entire community. It's kind of cool to be in a place and think about, it's a place that was built sometime between 2,000 and 1,500 years ago, or built over the course of that time, or was in use during that time, and then suddenly it just stopped, and we don't know why. But it's kind of cool to just stand in there and think about what people might have been doing 2,000 years ago, how they would have seen the landscape, what they would have been thinking about, like what their lives were like. It's nothing that I hate to use the word, but even comprehend, because I don't live in that society. I don't live in that world. That world no longer exists. It's long gone. All we can do is study it and appreciate it and try to learn as much as we can about it so we understand about it and what people were doing and what the history of this place was and what the history of the peoples. I mean, those people aren't gone. They're just changed, and then the world changed around them. But yeah, this is one of those cool areas. But to see something that was built 2,000 years ago, that's pretty spectacular. Normally I would just stay here all day to try to see this, but I got one day, so I want to see as much as I can. All right, I'll see you at the next one. All right, so here I am at the another great circle. It's called the Newark Earthworks. It's 1 mile away from the Octagon and the Great Circle over there. I'm gonna go check out this second circle and see what this one looks like. This one's different. This one's a little different than the other one. You can see here's the main earthwork here, and then when you come up over the top is a little ravine here that comes down. You can see I'm on a bridge that goes over it. It goes down into a little ravine, like a moat, and then comes up to the field that's flattened out. So as I walk into the circle here, I look over here, and there's a big opening in the mounds through those trees. And I think that might have been the main entrance to get into the circle. I'm gonna go over and check it out. So just walking across the field, I made a couple of observations. One, this is the main entrance to the, see the mound here, and then another one right here. And the mounds we're seeing back there, that seems to be right in the middle of it. So either it was a centralized platform, or it's where the burial ceremonies were, or burial mounds were. So passing through the Great Circle and finally getting to a place where there's a sign about what it is. The area that I thought was a moat, actually it was a moat, or they believe it was. They believe it held water, and to the Native Americans, I believe even to this day, spirits can't cross water. So it was a great place to hold ceremonies. And supposedly this area had a lot of like water, like in it, that's now gone. Because of the communities, they've drained all the water. Like there was a big lake, I believe, in this area someplace, but water played a big role in the construction of these earthworks and where they were constructed and how they were constructed. But just to put into context where I'm visiting, if we look over here, that's the Octagon, that's the Great Circle with the Octagon that I walked through or around. And then I drove somewhat like this way, and then actually I drove like that way over and down here, something like that. I drove from there to there to get to here, and that's about a mile. And then that's the Circle Earthworks that I'm at now, and you can see the entrance here, right here. There's the entrance, and we see two other lines here and here. One is represented over there on that ridge line there, and then if we look, there's another ridge line like right there behind, which is there's the freeway. I believe this big square, I don't know if it exists anymore. It would be over there behind the building, and I'll check that out. And I know for a fact none of this exists anymore. They built over that. And then there was another larger one here, which they thought was a town, and I believe that's all gone. These little things might have represented burial mounds. To this day, Native Americans still consider these ceremonial sites and sacred sites. So we can come here and visit them as like interesting parts of the landscape, or to have a picnic or spend a day here, but still remember to respect the place and don't go climb. They ask you not to climb around on the mounds. Don't climb around on the mounds. Come, respect it, enjoy it, take it in, learn from it, appreciate it. Try to like imagine what it was like for people who were using this like hundreds, if not thousands of years ago, but still show a little respect when you're here. And I think that's the most important part of any travel. Here I am at the Mound City site, and from what I understand, each one of these mounds was actually the structure built that they did religious ceremonies and burial ceremonies, and then at the end they built the structure over it. Originally there were 24 structures in here. I'm actually reading this right here this time, so I'm getting my information right. There were 24 structures in here. Today there's only 22. One of them was excavated and disappeared, and another one just remains for a bunch of post holes. And there's a map right here which shows you, here's the one with the post holes, and it shows you where all the structures are. The great thing about this site, Mound City, is that they have these informational plaques scattered throughout the area talking about various mounds, like the big one that you can kind of see peeking out just over there. This really long one, which is unique in this whole area, where the rest are just like true mounds. This is like a long elliptical mound of dirt. It's kind of cool just to walk around here, read these plaques, listen to the cicadas, and see these mounds, and just think of where exactly I am. If you're ever in the Ohio area, there's so much to see. I've only scratched the surface in visiting only 2 things. The USS Cod, which was amazing. The work you guys are doing, and not only protecting the history of the cod, but the way you present it on YouTube is just amazing. You guys are doing amazing work. Keep doing it. And also coming out here to visit these Hopewell sites. I would not have known about this without watching the videos from Miniminuteman, Milo. If you watch this, again, thank you so much. You did amazing coverage on the Octagon and the Hopewell sites up there in Newark, and that kind of led me to laid the seed for this trip to come out here and visit these and see these Hopewell sites. And I'm definitely going to have to come out and see more, because there's so many more to see, and I think this is one of our nation's national treasures. And I really recommend that anybody passing through Ohio come out here and visit these sites. And if you do, check out the markers, take the tours, take more time than I did. But until then, remember to get out, explore the world around you. Whatever you do, stay safe and stay healthy.